Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to Eastern Kentucky University's Fall 2019 Commencement Exercises. Yeah. We here at Eastern Kentucky University care about your safety. Please note the location of the emergency exits. In the event of an emergency, calmly walk, do not run to the nearest exit, and move away from the building to allow emergency personnel access. At this time, we would like to remind you to please silence your cell phones. Thank you. Carrying the banner for the College of Justice and Safety is Miss Abigail Tuck, graduating today with her Bachelor of Science degree in Occupational Safety. Carrying the banner for the College of Letters, Arts, and Social Sciences is Miss Ashley Kara Martin Colley, graduating today with her Master of Science degree in Industrial and Organizational Psychology. can stay up here. This morning, we honor degree candidates in the College of Justice and Safety, which is under the leadership of Dr. Victor Kapler, and the College of Letters, Arts, and Social Sciences, under the leadership of Dr. Sarah Ziegler. In this ceremony, we celebrate the degree candidates from the School of Justice Studies, the School of Safety, Security, and Emergency Management, the School of Music, as well as the departments of Anthropology, Sociology, and Social Work, Art and Design, Communication, English, Fire Protection and Paramedic Science, Government, History, Philosophy and Religious Studies, Languages, Cultures and Humanities, and Psychology. And now, please rise for the presentation of the national colors and join the University Singers under the direction of Dr. Richard Waters in the singing of our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 13th President of Eastern Kentucky University, Dr. Michael T. Benson.
Please be seated. Good morning. Parents, families, friends, and members of the Board of Regents, distinguished guests, faculty, and staff, thank you for joining us to celebrate this momentous event in the lives of EKU's Fall 2019 graduates. Today, we formally confer 35 associate degrees, 503 bachelor's degrees, 109 master's degrees, and 6 doctoral degrees for a total of 653 degrees. Today's graduates include many who have achieved academic distinction. We're proud of all those who are graduating with honors. but I would like to recognize at this time 3 groups in particular. If you would so kindly please hold your applause until all 3 groups have been recognized. Would all those who are graduating from our nationally prominent honors program as honor scholars please stand and remain standing. Next, would all those who are graduating summa cum laude with a 3.9 GPA or higher please stand and remain standing. Now, would all those graduates who are members of EKU's highest multidisciplinary honor society, Phi Kappa Phi, also stand. Let us honor these 3 groups of outstanding student scholars. Congratulations. Thank you. Please be seated. Congratulations are due as well to all other students who are graduating with honors today. Throughout our 145-year history, Eastern Kentucky University has always been known as a school of opportunity, and we will always be proud of that distinction. I'm particularly pleased to acknowledge the many first-generation college graduates who are earning a degree today. A first-generation graduate means that neither their parents, nor their grandparents, nor great-grandparents, etc., was a college graduate. Will all the candidates for degrees who are the first generation in their families to earn a college degree please stand? Congratulations. Thank you. Please be seated. Commencement is also the time we recognize the many others who have contributed to the success of these candidates with financial resources, encouragement, frequent cajoling, love, and understanding. Now I would ask to stand as you are presented, and please remain standing so that we may welcome you and honor you as a group. Again, please hold your applause until all have been recognized. Will the parents of the candidates for graduation please stand? Next, will the spouses or partners of the candidates please stand? Will the grandparents of the candidates please stand? Will children and other family members of the candidates please stand? Now, will the faculty and staff who have instructed and served these candidates please stand? Degree candidates, please join me in showing your appreciation for these very important people in your lives with a generous round of applause. Thank you very much. Please be seated. At this time, I would like to recognize some special individuals here on the platform. Will each member of the platform party please stand when presented and remain standing? Mr. Louis Diaz, Chair of the Board of Regents from Union. Mr. Alan Long, Vice Chair of the Board from Richmond. Mr. Juan Castro, Regent from Lexington. Mr. Brian Mackinnon, Staff Regent from Richmond. Dr. Jason Marion, Faculty Regent from Richmond. Ms. Lynn Taylor-Ty, Regent from Danville. And Ms. Madison Lipscomb, Student Regent from Independence. Chair Emeritus Craig Turner. Dr. Jerry Pogachnik, Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost. Dr. Sarah Ziegler, Dean of the College of Letters, Arts, and Social Sciences. Dr. Victor Kapler, Dean of the College of Justice and Safety. Mr. Jeremy Mulholland, Associate Dean of the Letters, Arts, and Social Sciences. Dr. Dara Paulson, Interim Associate Dean of the College of Justice and Safety. Dr. Skip Doherty, VP for Student Affairs and Campus Life. Ms. Bettina Gardner, VP for University Development and Alumni Engagement. Ms. Dana Foll, University Counsel. Dr. David McFadden, Senior Vice President for Operations and Strategic Initiatives. Dr. Gene Palka, Vice President for Student Success and Enrollment Management. Mr. Barry Pointer, Senior VP for Finance and Administration. Ms. Amy Jo Gable, President of our International Alumni Association. Dr. Marco Choca, Chair of the Faculty Senate and Mace Bearer, and Richmond City Commissioner, Mr. Ed McDaniel. Please join me in expressing our appreciation for their dedicated service. Please be seated.
Each semester, a member of the graduating class from each college is selected for the honor of presenting the student commencement address. Dr. Derek Paulson and Professor Lynette Noblet will present to individuals who have been selected to represent their college graduating class. Dr. Derek Paulson will now introduce the student speaker from the College of Justice and Safety.
This morning, the honor of speaking on behalf of the College of Justice and Safety belongs to Ms. Kayla Griffin of Seymour, Indiana. Kayla is Bachelor of Science degree candidate in Homeland Security. Kayla's professors describe her as one of those students who is a joy to have in class. She's a very personal young woman who takes her coursework very seriously. Kayla always has a smile on her face, although she exudes a professional demeanor when necessary. She is very popular among her classmates and provides sage advice to those younger students in the program. Kayla's academic deliverables are always completed with a great level of detail and competency, which is evidenced by the magna cum laude honor that is being bestowed upon her today. Additionally, her professors noted that she has excelled in the development of professional skills such as critical and creative thinking, oral and written communications, problem solving, and teamwork. Based on her many attributes, she undoubtedly be successful in whatever facet of Homeland Security she decides to conquer. Joining Kayla this morning are her close family and friends. I know they are proud of Kayla as we are. It is my pleasure to introduce Ms. Kayla Griffin.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak briefly to you this morning. An honor such as this carries the responsibility of showing gratitude to a myriad of people. First, I would like to start by welcoming and thanking everyone who came here to celebrate with us today. Second, I would like to thank the EKU administration and staff, all the staff at the College of Justice and Safety, and especially the Homeland Security Program faculty, Dr. Baggett, Dr. Simpkins, Dr. Sullivan, Dr. Foster, and Dr. McGlown, who have helped shape us into the individuals and leaders we are today. Next, allow me to take a moment to recognize our parents, grandparents, family, and friends who have constantly supported us in our journey. Graduates, let's give them a round of applause as our way to say thanks. As I was writing my speech, there were many ideas and themes I was contemplating. I could stand up here and rattle off a bunch of cliches such as, today is the day, the future is ours, and the best is yet to come. But Dr. Baggett specifically advised me to avoid these cliches, so I figured I should listen to him since he hasn't steered me wrong yet. Therefore, I decided to go with something that is representative of the College of Justice and Safety and the students who graduate from it. This is service and servant leadership. This concept is illustrated through a couple of famous servant leaders. The first is Booker T. Washington, who's an author, educator, and was an author, educator, and presidential advisor. He noted that if you want to lift yourself up, lift up someone else. Additionally, author Robert Greenleaf stated that the servant leader is a servant first. It begins with the natural feeling that one wants to serve. Then conscious choice brings one to aspire to lead. That person is sharply different from one who is a leader first. When I decided on this theme, I sat around with my peers and asked them, what does it mean to be a servant leader within a public safety or homeland security field? They answered with the following: putting others' needs before ours, serving others with high levels of integrity, and showing grit through passion and perseverance. No matter what our major is within the college, all these answers embody us as students and future professionals. Whether we go on to serve our country as law enforcement officers, an emergency manager, a paramedic, a firefighter, a safety professional, or social justice advocate/caseworker, we are going into the workforce prepared to serve and be servant leaders. This idea of servant leadership is to share knowledge and power with others, to put others' needs before ours, and to help others perform and develop. Whether it be in our communities, our agencies, or companies, we must strive to lead with a servant heart and be the first to lend a hand to those in need. As graduates of the College of Justice and Safety, we have been given opportunities that are unequaled in this world. I challenge all of us to make the most of those opportunities and to serve with compassion and pride. Congratulations to all the graduates, and best of luck to you all.
Thank you, Kayla, and congratulations to you and your family on your achievements. Professor Noblet will now introduce the student speaker for the College of Letters, Arts, and Social Sciences.
It is my honor to introduce the commencement speaker, Alpleto Chukwu-Podmore. Alpleto is a graduate student in our Masters of Public Administration program. He's a native of Monrovia, Liberia, where he assumed leadership roles at a young age. He plans to pursue a PhD in environmental policy and ultimately return to his home country of Liberia and run for elected office. The MPA faculty speak very highly of him. They admire his drive to pursue his education and to pursue a career in public service. He's joined today by his wife, Manisha Hale, Janet Somalia, and Mona Tupaka, his aunties, Charlene Walker, his college sponsor, and Lynette Harley, his mother-in-law. Please join me in welcoming Alpleto as our Fall 2019 class commencement speaker.
Thank you. So let me first of all start by saying a big thank you to all of you who supported each of these graduates today through our academic journey, to our parents, especially my parents who's 5,000 miles away. Thank you. I hope I made you proud. To our sponsors and our loved ones, thank you. To our spouses, especially my beautiful wife, Manisha, and my annoying 2-year-old daughter, thank you. Thank you for loving me through these times. To our professors, the ones who worked our brains out, thank you. Thank you for allowing us to work on those projects, even though, in all honesty, we really would not need some of them in the real world. But together, to all of you whose names I cannot mention, whose positions in our lives that I cannot mention, our aunties and our uncles, thank you. Together for standing by us and for standing with us. We wouldn't have been here without your collective effort. There is a popular story in my local village about a pregnant woman. She was pregnant when my country was in a civil war, and there were child soldiers in the streets with AK-47s, M16s, knives and pistols and RPGs, and they were searching for other bands of children who once upon a time were considered their brothers, their neighbors, and in some cases their parents. But given that the land was in a civil war, these same people or children were now considered their enemies. Now, the distance from the nearby clinic to where this woman lived was 2 days of walking. Now, 2 days of walking was very possible for her, but being 9 months pregnant, 2 days of walking required some serious thought. The story goes on to say that she was brave, but there were far too many children in my village claiming to be brave, but accomplishing nothing but becoming killed by the directive of other people who were other commanders who had witnessed war much too early themselves. So she became afraid. She did not want the child in her womb to be a child soldier. She did not want the child in her womb to be afraid of winning and achieving. She wanted the child to be afraid of senseless killing and afraid of war. And so she planted her feet at the trunk of a banana tree, and there she suffered the pain of childbirth for 10 hours. And she gave birth to a boy. She named the boy Alpleto. Alpleto in my local dialect, Bassa, means afraid of war. The woman in that story is my mother, and I am the child. I know you are probably asking yourselves, what is the significance of a story from an African village 5,000 miles away, at the graduation ceremony at Eastern Kentucky University? There are 2 reasons. The first point of this story is that it signifies that mothers are the closest things next to God. Their power, their strength, their tenacity, their effort is a match. A mother would do anything to protect her child. So I want you to be thankful for the women in your lives. The second point of this story is that I wanted to emphasize and reiterate the phrase that your humble beginning is not the definition of your ending. If you had told me 5 years ago that I will be serving as the student speaker and that I will be obtaining my master's from Eastern Kentucky University today, I would have probably laughed at you and told you to shut up. Now, this gesture would not have been an indication that I did not believe in myself. I did. However, given the circumstances and the situation at the moment, it seemed virtually impossible for me to even obtain an associate's degree. I left Liberia amidst the dangerous and perilous Ebola virus crisis. And at the age of 20, I moved to the United States as a junior student in college. And I'm leaving my entire family behind. But I was told that my grades were not good enough and I should start over as a freshman. So 3 years of hard study swept away in 90 minutes. I had no job, no income. After a semester, I lost my support from Africa due to the Ebola virus. I had one option: pack my bags and go back to Liberia. But here I am. The story ended different. I'm still standing. David Purcell said, "It is possible for one to come from less than a humble beginning and still be a winner." So believe in yourselves and never let anybody tell you that you cannot be what you want to be. Embrace the storm and take risks and change the status quo. Trust the process and keep dreaming. President Ellen Johnson said, if your dream is not scaring you, then it's not big enough. Lest I forget, let me draw my attention to the graduating class. She was inadequate to express how proud I am for all of us. The completion of your academic studies is a crystal clear indication that success is attainable through hard work and dedication. When I look across this room, I just don't see graduates, but I see single mothers, I see single fathers, I see first generation students, I see military veterans and personnel. I see that boy or girl who was told to abandon his or her dream. I see students who had no means of reaching this far. But you have proven to the world that anyone who is determined can achieve anything. You are an ambassador of success, and you deserve to enjoy every bit of it. I know you have big dreams for yourselves, but I don't forget that it took you a time to be where you are already. Finally, I'm not sure how far you intend to go from here, but wherever you go, I want to share with you a few tips about life that might come to you handy. 1, sometimes in life, you will fail, accept it, you will lose. You will apply for jobs and you will not be called for interviews, and you will sit down for interviews and you will not be called for jobs. I graduated college in May 2018, and between May 2018 to June 2019, I applied for 41 jobs, and not one employed me. I sat down for interviews and I was never called. In addition to that, let me remind you that I was top of my class. I was a 4.0 GPA. I was the vice president SGA. I was the president of Pre-Law Society. I was the president of the debate team. I was student ambassador. I was nearly everything 41 times and never got employed to the 42nd try. So you will fail. But when you fail, in the words of Denzel Washington, fail big. Fail with numbers. Fail while trying to achieve your dreams. Fail while giving life your best shot. Point number 2, be humble. My mother told me a humble child will have multiple mothers. Put aside your PhDs and your masters. Disregard your honors, summa cum laude, magna cum laude, thank you. But humility will take you to a place that your degrees will never venture. Respect yourselves and others, but never let people disrespect you. Show the janitor the same respect that you will show to the CEO. And remember the days that you pray for the things that you have now. And even though you have a humble beginning, the real strength lies within remaining humble despite everything. And finally, I was once told by an old man to find something or someone that I can count on. I chose God. And I cannot overemphasize on this enough. Trust in God with all your heart and let me handle the rest. And may God's grace that brought you thus far take you further in higher places in life. Thank you. May God bless you, and may God bless our institution.
Thank you. Thank you, Alpleo. Congratulations to you and your family on your achievements.
President Michael T. Benson and Provost Jerry Pagoshnik will now proceed with the formal conferring of degrees on our graduates.
As Dean of the Graduate School, I'll now present the candidates for graduate degrees. Will the candidates for doctoral degrees please stand and remain standing? Will all candidates for master's degrees please stand and remain standing? President Benson, these candidates have been approved by the faculty, and I present them to you for the conferring of their degrees. Dean Kapler will now present candidates for undergraduate degrees in the College of Justice and Safety.
Will candidates for the baccalaureate degree in the College of Justice and Safety stand and remain standing? Will candidates for the associate degrees in the College of Justice and Safety stand and remain standing? President Benson, the faculty, I present these candidates to you for the conferring of their degrees.
President Benson, Dean Sarah Ziegler will now present candidates for the undergraduate degrees from the College of Letters, Arts, and Social Sciences.
Will the candidates for baccalaureate degrees please stand and remain standing? Will the candidates for associate degrees please stand and remain standing? President Benson, these candidates have been approved by the faculty, and I present them to you for the conferring of their degrees.
President Benson, with the recommendations of the faculty, the deans and I present these candidates to you for the conferring of their degrees.
Candidates, the long-anticipated hour has come. You are here with family and loved ones looking on. The faculty and officers of the university are gathered in witness and testimony to your conduct and purpose. Therefore, by virtue of the authority granted me by the Board of Regents of Eastern Kentucky University, and with the faculty's recommendation, it is now my pleasure to confer upon each of you the appropriate degree, and do hereby vest each of you with the rights and privileges pertaining to that degree. Once verified by final grades, your diploma will be confirmed and acknowledged by the Great Seal of Eastern Kentucky University. Congratulations, graduates, and please be seated. At this time, I ask the college staff to please escort the degree candidates to the stage. Mr. John Strada from the Department of Communication will now read the names of the graduates. Out of respect for the graduates, especially those whose names are about to be called next, I kindly ask that you hold your applause until all the graduates have been recognized. In this way, each graduate can receive the recognition that he or she so richly deserves. Thank you very much.
College of Justice and Safety, School of Justice Studies, Master of Science. Elizabeth Jones, Justice Policy and Leadership. Shelby Jones, Criminology, Criminal Justice. Christopher Gatewood, Justice Policy and Leadership. Bachelor of Science, Jennifer Hamilton, Criminal Justice. Houston Babs, summa cum laude, Criminal Justice. Dustin Elliott, Criminal Justice. Austin Witt, Criminal Justice, summa cum laude, with high distinction in Police Studies. Jessica McVeigh, Criminal Justice. Annika McCullough, summa cum laude, Occupational Safety. Laura Johnson, Criminal Justice. Cabria Clark, Criminal Justice. Catherine Honecker, Criminal Justice. Zoe Taylor, Criminal Justice. Delvon Robinson, Criminal Justice. Tatiana Mason, Criminal Justice. Rachel Baker, Criminal Justice. Shelby Stevens, Criminal Justice. Chelsea Rawlings, Criminal Justice. Candace Smallwood, Criminal Justice. Taylor McDonald, Criminal Justice. Aubrey Logan, Criminal Justice. Jordan Jacobs, Criminal Justice. Rosemary Thompson, magna cum laude, Honor Scholar, Criminal Justice. Jordan Votaw, Police Studies. Logan Teague, Criminal Justice. Jacob Hurt, Criminal Justice. Savion Floyd, Criminal Justice. Anthony Brown, Criminal Justice. Zachary McPeak, Criminal Justice. Chelsea Bush, Criminal Justice, summa cum laude. Haley Brock, Criminal Justice. Jordan Kennedy, cum laude, Criminal Justice. Emily Wombles, Criminal Justice. Bridget Pennington, Criminal Justice, magna cum laude. Jessica Bile, Criminal Justice, summa cum laude. Brittany Israel, Criminal Justice. Samantha Saylor, Criminal Justice. Allie Chambers, Criminal Justice, cum laude. Megan Wilhoit, magna cum laude, Honor Scholar, Social Justice Studies. Laura Keith, Criminal Justice. Charles Dennis, Criminal Justice. Austin Withrow, Criminal Justice. Donald Johnson, Criminal Justice. Skylar McFarland, Criminal Justice. Jeremiah Johnson, Criminal Justice. Iris Bell Mitchell, Criminal Justice. Jessica Smith, Criminal Justice, magna cum laude. Leotis Moore, General Studies. Aaron Patrick, Criminal Justice. Chantrice Solomon, General Studies. Marwal Al-Farwai, magna cum laude, Criminal Justice. Brittany Vandeventer, Criminal Justice. Sierra Wardlow, Criminal Justice. Connor Rohrer, Police Studies with distinction. School of Safety, Security, and Emergency Management, Master of Science. Maxwell Domolavich, Safety, Security, and Emergency Management. Joseph Scheid, Safety, Security, and Emergency Management. Philip Terry, Safety, Security, and Emergency Management. Ghanem Alzaria, Safety, Security, and Emergency Management. Thomas Dotson, Safety, Security, and Emergency Management. Malia Barnett, Safety, Security, and Emergency Management. Alan Fugit, Safety, Security, and Emergency Management. Daniel Sisko, Safety, Security, and Emergency Management. Emily Arceo, Safety, Security, and Emergency Management. Yvonne Shepard, Safety, Security, and Emergency Management. Justin Meyer, Safety, Security, and Emergency Management. Bradley Baker, Safety, Security, and Emergency Management. Katie Nelson, Safety, Security, and Emergency Management. Lynn Timmons, Justice Policy and Leadership. Lucas Carroll, Safety, Security, Emergency Management. Renzo Agbor, Safety, Security, and Emergency Management. Michael Hughes, Safety, Security, and Emergency Management. James Tarver, Safety, Security, and Emergency Management, Homeland Security. John Powell, General Studies. Christian Spriggs, Safety, Security, and Emergency Management. Donella Hunt, Safety, Security, and Emergency Management. Vitsora Guerriere, Safety, Security, and Emergency Management. Bachelor of Science, Zachary Dalek, magna cum laude, Occupational Safety. Brantley Johnson, Occupational Safety. Connor Knopf, Occupational Safety. Keisha Balthus, Occupational Safety. Samantha Jacobs, Occupational Safety. Abigail Tuck, cum laude, Occupational Safety. Madison McDaniel, Occupational Safety, cum laude. Brittany Dunn, Occupational Safety. Christopher Brown, cum laude, Occupational Safety. Cole Sherman, magna cum laude, Occupational Safety. Connor Sherman, magna cum laude, Occupational Safety. Gracie Fackler, magna cum laude, Occupational Safety. Gavin Draper, Occupational Safety. Robert Krebs, Occupational Safety. Kyle Gohegan, Occupational Safety. Max Chung, Fire, Arson, and Explosion Investigation. Jacob Fincham, Fire, Arson, and Explosion Investigation. Matthew Strader, Fire, Arson, and Explosion Investigation, cum laude. Glenn Keating, Emergency Medical Care. Myra Elam, Occupational Safety, magna cum laude. Paul Gherkin, Occupational Safety, magna cum laude. Bradley Althauser, Occupational Safety, cum laude. Barry Johnson, General Studies. Cheryl Narber, Occupational Safety. Jacob Johns, Fire, Arson, and Explosion Investigation, magna cum laude. Saeed Alifari, magna cum laude. Saif Al-Mesmari, Homeland Security. Kayla Griffin, magna cum laude. Jared Angel, Homeland Security. Garrett Ryan, Homeland Security. Raymond Pacheco, Homeland Security. Shane Caudill, Homeland Security. James Fryman, Homeland Security. Patrick Riley, Homeland Security, summa cum laude. Megan Dawson, Homeland Security. Maxon Carter, Homeland Security, cum laude. Adam Craven, Occupational Safety, cum laude. Brittany Elliott, Homeland Security, summa cum laude. Emery Witt, Homeland Security. Eric Kopang, Fire Protection Administration. Casey Ellsbrock, Fire Protection Administration. Corey Spengler, Fire Protection Administration. James Hauser, Fire Protection Administration. John Griegel, Fire, Arson, and Explosion Investigation. Dominic Mon, Fire Protection Administration, cum laude. Derek Cunningham, Homeland Security. Jillian Gillespie, Occupational Safety, cum laude. Molly Ferguson, Occupational Safety. Brandy Adkins, General Studies. Delta Wells, General Studies. Joseph Michalski, Fire Protection and Safety Engineering Technology, magna cum laude. Dean Lynch, Homeland Security. Tony Hobson, Occupational Safety. Mark Kaiser, Occupational Safety. Bobby Lee, General Studies. Christian Cook, Emergency Medical Care, magna cum laude. David Anthony Kidd, Correctional and Juvenile Justice Studies. Suleiman Alokeli, Occupational Safety. Mohammed Al-Qais Mohammed. Zahir Al-Abdulal, Occupational Safety. Mohammed Al-Amri, Occupational Safety. Hassan Alias, Occupational Safety. Brian Baker, Fire Protection and Safety Engineering Technology. Austin Hoover, Homeland Security, magna cum laude. Badr Al-Faraj, cum laude, Fire Protection, Safety, Engineering Technology. Abdullah Al-Sarwan, Fire Protection, Engineering Technology. Lakin Dillingham, Police Studies. Abdul Majid Al-Zumur, Emergency Medical Care. College of Letters, Arts, and Social Sciences, Graduate School, Doctor of Psychology, Lisa Nicole Grogan, Clinical Psychology. Lauren Elise Young, Clinical Psychology. Alexander George Kuhl, Clinical Psychology. Joel David Goodrich, Clinical Psychology. Master of Science, Farshad Michael Sader, General Psychology. Emily Ann Mink, General Psychology. Bailey Michelle McGuffin, General Psychology. Toria Hope Gamble, Industrial and Organizational Psychology. Abigail Joy Jameson, Industrial and Organizational Psychology. Kayla Spears McCullough, Industrial and Organizational Psychology. Ashley Martin Colley, Industrial and Organizational Psychology. Master of Public Administration, Brian Matthew Judge, Public Administration. James Allen Sizemore, Public Administration. Sandra Agnes Powell, Public Administration. Alfredo Chukwi Padmore, Public Administration. Sarah Elizabeth Baker, Public Administration. David Gregory, Public Administration. Jarvis Lamar Livingston, Public Administration. Master of Arts, Gary Andrew Pickle, English. Courtney L. Forrester, English. Shalay Lind Lucas, History. General Studies, Bachelor of Arts. Teresa Cheryl Greider, General Studies. Caitlin Victoria Jenkins, General Studies. Courtney Lee Plowman, General Studies. Sierra Flanoy, General Studies. Kristen Taylor Conley, General Studies. Jenica Marie McGee, General Studies. Mariah Catherine Stevens, General Studies. Abby Danielle Deaton, General Studies. Axel Clay Bryant, General Studies. Zachary Wayne Day, General Studies. Jackie R. Gibson, General Studies. Brian James Moulton, General Studies, cum laude. Eric Marquise Magwood, General Studies. Elijah Taylor, General Studies. Larry Raymond Bailey, General Studies. Annika Nicole Bentley, General Studies. Brianna Weber, General Studies. Marcy Lynn Aaron, General Studies. Mindy Elaine Pointer, General Studies. Department of Anthropology, Sociology, and Social Work, Bachelor of Arts. Jacqueline Marie Francis Hill, Anthropology. Larissa Delaney Mariah Heslop, Anthropology, Honor Scholar. Jesse Walden Klapik, Anthropology, Honor Scholar, magna cum laude. Jacob Dylan Watts, Sociology. Jessica Aratanovich, magna cum laude. Rachel Ann Blackwell, Sociology. Jonathan Keith Mullins, Sociology. Bachelor of Social Work, Baxley Eli Rain Lady, Social Work. Sarah Beth Turner, Social Work. Gabrielle M. Parsons, Social Work. Ashley Nicole Carson, Social Work. Sarah Frances Brolick, Social Work, cum laude. Seth Daniel Huff, Social Work, cum laude. Megan Marie Kathman, Social Work. Emily Nicole Whittle, Social Work, French, cum laude. Morgan Sarah Lakes, Social Work. Chriselle Nicole Bays, Social Work. Marissa Nicole Schuler, Social Work. Brittany LaKay Tipton, Social Work. Melissa Marie Brozowski, Social Work, cum laude. Logan Page Hinkle, Social Work, magna cum laude. Department of Art and Design, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Brooklyn Page Burke, Art. Carson Alexandra Bryant, Art. Catherine Renee Carter, Art. Kiana Lee Majub, Art. Hannah Christine Leedy, Art. Haley S. Brewer, Art. Bachelor of Arts, Ella Jo Moore, Art. Kayla Brianne Coleman, Art. Bachelor of Science, Hannah Page Wolf, Art Design, Studio. Department of Communication, Bachelor of Arts, Joseph M. Chapman, Public Relations, magna cum laude. Camille Rose Johnson, Public Relations. Mackenzie Louise Fugate, Public Relations. Kayla N. Hamblin, Public Relations. Emma Catherine Baldwin, Public Relations, magna cum laude. Taylor Raquel Weber, Public Relations. Clayton Royal Gibb, Public Relations, magna cum laude, honor scholar. Autumn Noel Van Winkle, Broadcasting and Electronic Media, magna cum laude. Dylan James Marson, Broadcasting and Electronic Media, magna cum laude. Ian Thomas Teasley, Broadcasting and Electronic Media. Samantha Lee Tamplin, Journalism, honor scholar. Keely Lane Durbin, Broadcasting and Electronic Media, magna cum laude. Tamia Joy Jackson, Broadcasting and Electronic Media. Jordan Lamar Taylor, Broadcasting and Electronic Media, cum laude. Brooke Sierra Stevers, Communication Studies. Megan Brooke Wellman, Communication Studies. Jenna Noel Beckham, Communication Studies. Julianne Elizabeth Gillette, Communication Studies, cum laude. Candace Marie Green, Communication Studies. Sabrina Alexandra Spiratos, Communication Studies. Robin Lynette Stewart, Communication Studies. Cassie Sherrard, Broadcasting and Electronic Media. Timothy William Sherrard, Broadcasting and Electronic Media. Department of English. Bachelor of Arts. Brianna Keith Hurd, English and Theater, cum laude. Sarah Jean King, English Teaching, summa cum laude. Rebecca Ann Naylor, English. Rance Antonio Ellison Jr., English. Rachel Nicole Hampton, English, summa cum laude. Abigail Claire Bird, English. Chase Nicole Robinson, English, summa cum laude. Darian Marie Bianco, English, summa cum laude. April Morgan Cherry, English, magna cum laude, honor scholar. Department of Government, Bachelor of Arts. Mitchell Brian Arms, Political Science. Madison Michelle Bolin, Political Science, cum laude. Kennedy Todd Patrick, General Studies. Lois Ann White, Paralegal Studies, with distinction. Faith LaRae Tincher, Paralegal Science. Morgan Ann Martin, Paralegal Science. Brandy Marie Mountjoy Anderson, Paralegal Science. Sarah A. Haney, Political Science, cum laude. Chelsea Erin Fleming, Paralegal Science. Hannah Rose Walls, Political Science. Janie Christine Ray, Globalization and International Affairs. Department of History, Philosophy, and Religious Studies. Bachelor of Arts. Rebecca Renee Baumgart, History. Alexandria Nicole Childers, History, cum laude. Macy Nicole Campbell, magna cum laude, History. Caitlin Marie Simpson, History. John Walter Wiegert, History Teaching. Jacob Russell Warner, History. John Ryan Sr., History. Jared Stephen Bagley, History. Emily Shea Kubler, History. Heather Marie Ramsey, Paralegal Science, Spanish, Honor Scholar. Yami Edith Pina Perez, Communication Studies, Spanish. Alexis Ortiz Cazares, Spanish. Kelly Marie Suarez, Spanish. Sam Bates, Spanish. Lauren Marie Pankratz, Psychology, Spanish. School of Music, Bachelor of Music. Grant Matthew Browder, Music, summa cum laude. Jared Gregory Davis, Music. Austin Jean Reich, Music. Department of Psychology, Bachelor of Science. Logan Scott Burris, Psychology, summa cum laude. Abby Danielle Huber, Psychology. Suzanne Faye Sievers, Psychology. Olivia Mae Leonard, Psychology, summa cum laude. Francesca Danielle West Ford, Psychology. Ty Douglas Schaus, Psychology. Disha Renee Lee, Psychology. Bethany Lee Banks, Psychology, cum laude. Alexis Ann Morris, Psychology. Megan Renee Evans, Psychology, magna cum laude. Haley Alexis Hill, Psychology, magna cum laude. Ellen Gassett, Psychology. Casey Ellen Lemieux, Psychology, magna cum laude. McKenna Lane Austin, Psychology, cum laude. Catherine Taylor Rowley, Psychology. Madison Mackenzie Major, Psychology. Jessica Nicole Baker, Psychology. Kristen Brooke Howard, Psychology. Dejana Marie Bunton, Psychology, summa cum laude, Honor Scholar. Jamie Teresa Dodge, Psychology. Bailey Alexandra Johnson, Psychology. McKaylee Nicole Helton, Psychology. Brianna Elizabeth Blair, Psychology, magna cum laude. Christy Page Honecker, psychology, summa cum laude. Christine Nicole McFerrin, psychology. Tyler Austin Heflin, psychology, magna cum laude. Taylor Lene Zorich, psychology. Brittany A. Loftus, psychology. Megan S. Martin, animal studies, cum laude. Brooklyn Mallory Brindley, animal studies. Marina Page DiBiase, animal studies, cum laude. Anna Kate Davidson, animal studies, cum laude, honor scholar. Ashley Peyton Templeton, animal studies, magna cum laude. Whitney Lene Baker, animal studies. Rachel Lee Schmidt, animal studies. Corey Elizabeth Van Hook, animal studies. Kelly Michelle Christie, animal studies. Mackenzie Lee Gordon, animal studies. Kelsey Grace Tuggle, anthropology, animal studies. Kyle Alexander West, psychology. Sherry Ann Varwig, psychology, summa cum laude. Misty Aaron Fry, psychology, cum laude. Contessa M. Gillen, psychology. Days Danelle Cooper, psychology. Alexis Brianna Preston, psychology. Megan Kathleen Elias, psychology, summa cum laude. Katrina Dawn Leach, psychology, magna cum laude. Sierra Caitlin Metters, psychology, cum laude. Aaron Carell, sociology. Paula Lynn Hughes, psychology, magna cum laude. Shelby Alexis Taylor, psychology. Bianca Greider Fisher, psychology, cum laude. Conrad Mashongeni, psychology. Vanessa Israel, psychology. Tiffany Jo Monholland, psychology. Brianna Monique Frazier, general studies.
I know we say it every time, but how about a big round of applause for Professor John Strada and handling all those names? Graduates, the moment for which you have worked so long and so hard is now at hand. If you have not already done so, please move your tassels from the right to the left. And congratulations. Alumni are so very important in the life of a university, and we are blessed at Eastern to have the loyal support of more than 130,000 living alumni. Here to represent the International Alumni Association is President of the Alumni Board, Amy Jo Gable, who will now offer greetings to our newest alumni. Amy Jo.
Thank you, President Benson. Graduates, today you are joining a very special group of individuals, men and women from all over the world who are alumni of this great institution. They have brought honor to Eastern by distinguishing themselves in their careers and in their communities, by doing great work and serving others. In your time here at EKU, I hope that, in addition to your academics, you have learned the importance of service. It is my hope that as you go into your communities and into the workforce, that you will give back with acts of service. And that, when you are settled into your career, you will consider giving of your time, talents, and treasure to your Eastern Kentucky University. Being a graduate of this institution gives me great pride, and I'm always sharing about the Campus Beautiful. I hope that you will find the opportunities to share with others about your incredible experiences here. Now, Fall 2019 graduates, please stand. By virtue of the degree conferred upon you by the faculty and Board of Regents of Eastern Kentucky University, I hereby declare you to be members of the Eastern Kentucky University International Alumni Association with all the rights and privileges of membership. Congratulations and welcome. You may be seated.
Thank you very much, Amy Jo. For many of you, your time in Eastern Kentucky University has come to an end. However, we hope you will always think of yourself as eternal colonels. You will be forever part of our EKU community. Graduates, I again extend to you my sincerest congratulations and best wishes of the entire Colonel community. We do have one parting gift that we would like to announce specifically to your class. You were among the first students to invest in our brand new state-of-the-art recreation center. It will be opening in January, and we thought it would be a shame if you did not have the opportunity to enjoy it. So we are offering to you, the graduates of 2019 and 20, a free 2-year alumni membership to the new rec center. Now, for those who are leaving Richmond for other opportunities, it just means you'll have to come back periodically and work out for 2 or 3 days in a row. But seriously, this is our way to say thank you. Thank you for helping support the revitalization of our campus and for current and future generations of students. If you'd like to check it out before you leave campus today, it is open for you to get a sneak peek. This is just one more way we hope you will stay connected with EKU for years to come, wherever your career takes you. From this time forward, the name, the traditions, the influence of this university are freely yours, just as your achievements, your successes, indeed the tenor of your entire life will forever reflect on Eastern Kentucky University. Your diploma is more than just a piece of paper. It is your ticket into the world. In the words of George Washington Carver, education is the key to unlock the golden door of freedom. The knowledge and wisdom you have obtained cannot be taken away from you. As you leave the Campus Beautiful today, it is my hope that you will go forward with the ability to achieve personal success with passion and purpose, as etched in stone at our campus entry, the Turner Gate. May you leave with the intent to inspire and to uplift those around you, as I hope you have been inspired and uplifted during your time on our campus. This is a time for transition for me as well, and I will take with me the memories of the many students with whom I have had the pleasure to meet and to work in my nearly 7 years here at EKU. There's no greater moment in a college presidency than shaking hands with each of you and to personally say, congratulations, great work, you did it. Whatever path brought you to EKU, and regardless of any obstacles you have faced along the way, you stayed the course, and today you've reached your ultimate goal. Congratulations, graduates. Before we conclude, let me thank those who have helped plan and execute today's ceremony. Thank you, as always, to our outstanding musicians who make up the EKU Orchestra, directed today by master's student Katie Nolker. Thank you very much, Katie. Thank you to the adept organizers in the Office of Conference and Events and to the Registrar's Office for their coordination. Thank you to our sign language interpreters, Ms. Nikki Fairchild and Ms. Shirley Rivard, as well as the many faculty and staff working here on the floor and behind the scenes. And again, thank you to our reader, the inimitable and our ever-articulate John Strada. Thank you very much, and congratulations, graduates.
Your faculty would like to say goodbye one more time immediately after we conclude. For those graduating from the College of Letters, Arts, and Social Science, photo backdrops are available for you to take a picture or two and see your college faculty members again while enjoying some music. These photo backdrops are located where you lined up this morning to begin the ceremony in the Fred Darling Auxiliary Gymnasium. To our guests, this area can be reached from the building concourse on either side. Dean Ziegler and our faculty look forward to seeing you there. Dr. Kapler and the faculty of the College of Justice and Safety will meet their graduates in the Stratton Building Hub for a reception immediately following this ceremony. Now, the University Singers, under the direction of Dr. Richard Waters, will perform Not One Sparrow is Forgotten. As the recessional begins, please stand and remain standing until the platform party has left the arena floor. Now, for one last time, let's recognize with a hearty round of applause Eastern Kentucky University's newest graduates.